is episode 9 of I Said What I Said with Guap. I have a special guest on here today, Chelsea. I know it has been a while since I have posted an episode. I've been busy doing other things, but I didn't want to let this podcast go, and I still feel like there's certain messages that need to be heard, and especially with this being an important message today. Chelsea reached out to me on Instagram a little while ago, and we were discussing mental health, and so I kind of wanted to do an episode on mental health and just what that means for the Black community, what that means within your life, how it has affected you, just different things like that. So I don't know if you want to introduce yourself, your name, your age, and just where you reside. But I don't want to put you on the spot. Don't be nervous. But
it's fine. It's fine. I'll be okay. Like he said, my name is Chelsea. I am 29 years young. I'm not going to say old yet because I'm not 30 yet. I'm almost
30. Hey, 30 ain't old. 30 is
I'm trying to hold on to my
years.
20s. I'm trying to hold on to my 20s as long as I can. So I do have a board certified Christian counseling certification. I made sure that even in having this conversation, being open for members of the LGBT community who identify as Christian, kind of navigating through the whole, I'm gay, I'm trans, I'm bisexual, but I also love Jesus, right? And when I got my certification, I made sure that, my instructor was aware of that. Like, hey, but my sole purpose of getting a certification is to do this specific thing. And I have sat on it for a year and a half. I haven't practiced at all just because I wanted to make sure that the timing was right and that I was not in a place where I couldn't handle, being the person that people came to when they were dealing with stuff because my stuff was so heavy, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I do have some type of certification. I'm not just on here being a YouTube counselor. Yeah. I do have a Christian counseling certification. So it's not an LPC, but it is a certification that is recognized. And I can get coins for counseling. So
that is dope. So do you know when you might want to start that? Do you feel like the timing is coming for you to start?
I do. I feel like I am in a much more stable place emotionally, for one. And then just the time is coming for us to kind of stand up and be available, not only just for our LGBT brothers and sisters, but just for people in general. People are looking for answers. People are looking for comfort. Everybody is kind of getting into this whole spiritual work and shadow work and really diving deep. I really feel like our generation has the most parental hurt.
Yeah.
And so we're all trying to heal through the shit, right? Like, my daddy ain't shit, my mama ain't shit. Like, let's talk about it, and then how did that affect you? How did you go through that? And if we can connect on that, let's discover how to heal together so that when we bring children into the world, the scars and the pain that we've endured and that we have, we're not passing that on. Right, so I feel like our generation is the stop the bullshit generation. Like all of the extra stuff, we're like, this stops right here with me. So
right. That's dope. Yeah. That's dope. That's cool. I didn't know that. So I sent you a few questions that I just kind of wanted to go over. My first question is, what is your diagnosis and when did you get it?
Okay. So I am diagnosed with clinical depression. And then I have what's called generalized anxiety disorder. And these are very mild diagnoses, right? So I won't say mild because we don't want, don't say mild because I don't want
to say don't downplay.
Yeah, because I don't want to downplay it, but I don't want to use it as something as a crutch because it is something that kind of disables me from being able to be totally present, especially in my, romantic and platonic relationships. Having anxiety coupled with depression has really been a hard journey to go through. I actually, when my partner and I, we were probably together for 2 years, and I told her, I was like, I need you to take me to a hospital. And if anybody in the city of Houston is familiar with Intracare is the psychiatric hospital. Okay. And I was like, you need to take me to a hospital. I was like, something is wrong with me. I don't know what's wrong. I feel like I'm going crazy. Everybody else thinks I'm crazy already. I know that I might, seem a little melodramatic. I'm like, but something is wrong. Like, this is not normal, what I'm experiencing. And she was like, I'm not taking you to a hospital. Like, we're not going to a hospital, especially not to Intracare. And I was like, well, I don't know what else to do, So I reached out to different friends, and we had some couple friends, and I reached out to them, and her wife specifically was also diagnosed, but she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. So there was this whole thing of me saying, well, maybe I'm bipolar, because one minute I'm mad and the next minute I'm not. Mm-hmm. And, of course, in arguments and stuff like that, the partner that does not have the anxiety disorder, when they are trying to kind of grow through that process with you, and they're kind of discovering the mental illness with you, they use it as a dig, like, you psychotic, or like those words for me are so triggering. And we went through a really, really intense breakdown, because anytime she would get upset with me, that was the first thing that she said. And it's just like, I'm not psychotic. Right. I might be a little extra, but psychotic is the wrong word to use. Right. So I'm like, well, let's go figure out what's wrong. So you keep calling me crazy. You keep calling me psychotic. You keep saying, I'm bipolar. Let's go find out. Right. So there is a program here in the city of Houston. It's called St. Hope. It's the St. Hope Foundation, actually. And they offer low income psychiatric services, gynecology services, podiatry, dentistry, general medicine. Like it's a whole thing. Now, if y'all want to pay me to do promo, y'all can do that. St. Hope, right, St. Hope. You listen to St. Hope. Right. I was looking for resources, because I didn't have a lot of money, and going to these doctors, these psychiatrists, they're charging $100 something out the gate. Just for the initial appointment, and then every appointment after that is like $275. And I'm like, I can't afford that. Not in order for me to do something consistently. And then at the time, I was also introducing myself to therapy. My therapy sessions were $150 a session. And I was going every other week. So that's $300 a month, on top of trying to get diagnosed to figure out what's going on, so we can get to the root of it, And so I went to St. Hope, and I met with a great psychiatrist, and she's a certified psychiatrist. These are not just layman people that are just, CNAs or anything like that. Like, these are actual medically certified individuals who are offering these services at a lower rate where people can afford it. And so we were sitting down, and she did this questionnaire, and she's like, okay, what are you feeling? What are you experiencing? And what was so amazing about that appointment is that she didn't make me feel like I was a nutcase. She didn't make me feel like I was getting ready to sign my life away to an asylum and be locked away for X amount of years. Like, I was able to be 100% open and honest and transparent about suicidal ideations, and, all of the thoughts that I was having, and all of the dreams that I was having, and just feeling this overwhelming sense of like sadness and worry and paranoia. And I told her, I said, I grew up in a church, and everybody's like, well, you just need to pray about it. And I'm like, yeah, I prayed about it, but my nigga, I'm still anxious. Like, I'm still, feeling these feelings and these emotions that I don't really have control of. And so she went through the questionnaire, and so she said, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and diagnose you with clinical depression. And then she said, you have some anxiety in here. We're just going to go ahead and classify it as generalized anxiety, because she was like, you're not having any panic attacks or anything like that. And at the time, I didn't know what that was. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what that means, whatever. And so she brought up the conversation of medication. And I was like, no, you were going for it at first. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. No, I'm like, well, no. She was like, we just need to talk about it. I said, nope. I said, Black people don't take medicine. See, we don't do that. We go to church and we pray about it, and we just let God do whatever God's going to do. And that's just the end all be all. And that's just what it is. And she was just like, Chelsea, people in the African American community do take medication, just like you take medication for a headache, just like you take medication for, high blood pressure or whatever other ailment you have, Black people take medication. So whatever person told you that, go ahead and cancel that out. And if you want to get the situation and the problem resolved, then you're going to have to do something.
Right.
And she said, you know, alcohol and drugs and, you know, smoking weed and doing this and that, it helps for the moment, but it's just a Band-Aid. Let's get to, and so one of the things that I'm really, really passionate about is finding the root of whatever is going on. And let's dig there so that we can dig it up so that it's no longer, we don't have the side effects of it, you know?
Right.
And so she introduced me to this medication, and that's how that journey started. So I have generalized anxiety disorder, and I also have clinical depression.
Okay.
Yes.
And you said a lot in there. And if I'm looking down, I'm taking notes because I have ADHD, so I'll be having to hold on to my thoughts. So I have to hurry up and write them down before I lose them. You said a few things in there that are so problematic with mental health in the Black community. We do have it bad to where it's like you just pray it away. You know, let God do what he's going to do, and you don't take no medication for that. We're so hesitant to even go seek therapy or to seek counseling or any service, because it's kind of like whatever goes on in this house stays in this house. You don't, you know, I've often heard, well, why am I going to go talk to a stranger about, you know, they don't know nothing about my life and they're not going to help me and they can't tell me nothing. And I often tell people therapy they're not there to, a good therapist isn't there to tell you what to do or how to do it or what. They're there to help you kind of come to those solutions on your own. You can problem solve on your own, use coping skills on your own, different things to help you but just become better. And I hate that Black people, we have this stigma that it's just that you're crazy or you this or you that or you, and it's just, it is very bothersome to me. But
it is. And honestly, it's like, so you know something is wrong. You know you have all of these underlying feelings, and this is really popular in cis men, trans men, especially because now, if you think about it, the world in general is changing because of social media, right? And so everything is exposed, everything is out there. There's nothing is a secret, nothing is kept under wraps, and if it is under wraps, eventually it's going to come out. So we have these platforms and this open space where everybody's kind of like, damn, I'm not the only one that's fucked up. Like, damn, my daddy ain't the only one that left me. Damn, my mama ain't the only one that abandoned me. Damn, I'm not so it's like we're all kind of seeing our stories play out in different people. And we have the option now to say, hey, something's wrong, I need help. But it's the inkling within ourselves to be able to be honest and accountable to say, hey, I'm not going to continue to use this behavior as crutch is not the word that I want to use. I'm not going to allow this behavior to continue to enable me to make these decisions that are not positively affecting my life. I need to be held accountable for what's going on with me. So let me figure out what I need to do. And I feel like that's the missing piece, Mo, that people are not willing to be all the way honest. Everybody hollers transparency. But when it comes to really looking inward, nobody want to do that.
That's
everybody
hard.
Want to expose everybody else and want to show what this person is doing and what that person is doing. But when we need to look at us,
it's hard.
Chelsea, you do kind of have a shitty attitude. You do kind of have a mouth that gets real disrespectful sometimes. You do really have a poor work ethic. And all of these things, had I not gone through my journey of going to the psychiatrist to at least see, okay, the surface level thing is the depression and the anxiety, but where is it really coming from?
Right.
What is the root, or what is the source of this anxiousness and this paranoid feeling that I have? One of the things that me and my partner talked about is when we would get into arguments before, she would leave and it would make me so angry. And I would just get in a frenzy. And I sat with myself because I've been doing some shadow work. And baby, if you are not ready to cry and have your feelings hurt by some shit that you did, don't do the shadow work. You gotta, a lot of people need that. Is something that you genuinely have to be mentally and emotionally prepared to endure because it's a lot.
It is a lot. And it's hurtful. It's painful. It's hurtful. It's not easy.
When you have have to look at some of the things that you did, and you're the cause of why.
You're the cause of nobody
like,
else. Yeah, you got to sit with that, and you got to be like, I did that. I did that. That was me.
Right.
That was me. And that's a hard thing to swallow.
Listen, because I'm the first one to say, don't tell me about me.
Right. Don't tell. I know me.
Don't question me. Don't tell me nothing. Don't call me out. Don't tell me about myself. It's a number, probably a handful of people that can come and be like, Chelsea, you ain't shit, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody else, I'm gonna cuss you out and tell you where you can go, and then I'm
right. Don't tell me about me. Yeah.
Right. Don't tell me nothing about me because you don't know. Even if they do know, you still don't know. But
it can only be heard from a few people.
I had to get to a point where I'm like, okay, bitch, like there's a continuous pattern of the same thing. It's different people, it's different scenarios, but the message is the same. What is it that you're doing to contribute to this? Right. So yeah, that's the whole thing. That's a whole nother conversation because the people don't be ready for that.
They're not ready for that. And that's what's wrong with a lot of people now. We're not willing to take a deep look at ourselves and look at the shadow work and be able to look at our faults, our fuck ups, because that's what it is. You in order to get to the level up and the glow up and the growing and the transition, you've got to be able to look deep within yourself and you, like you said, realize those fuck ups. It's like I did that. I'm responsible for this. And you also acknowledge through the shadow work, you're acknowledging the things that have been done to you to help contribute to why you operate the way you do. But I always say it comes a point, it's only so long I can use, well, my mama was doing this. Well, my daddy was doing this when I was growing up. Well, at what point are you going to take the reins and be responsible for your own health and mental well-being? And for those around, like you want to be able to be an enjoyable person for those around you. And if you're not healing, then it's near impossible to do so because you're not happy with yourself and you ain't even got to the root of the issue to understand why you're not happy with yourself. Oh, you know what I'm saying? So I commend you for doing that shadow work because it is not easy. I feel like shadow work is a ongoing, ever lasting thing. So you're always
because you never get over it. So I was saying, I would get mad at her for leaving. And so I sat and I was doing some shadow work, some childhood shadow work questions. And those questions, the childhood stuff, that'll get your feelings hurt real quick. So what I realized was, so my parents got divorced when I was really young. I was probably like 2 or 3 years old when my parents got divorced. And me and my mom are in a much better place now. But my mom, divorced my dad, and there were some other, really traumatic things that happened. I wasn't, it wasn't like sexual assault or anything like that. It was a lot of just like emotional and verbal abuse. And people really underestimate, especially parents, especially old school Black parents. If you were a Black parent in the 90s, at some point, you an asshole. Like you did or said something to your child that negatively is still affecting them 20 something odd years later. And so if nobody ever told you, you said something to your child that fucked them up for their life. And the things that they're going through now are a result somewhat of the things that you said to them. Okay. I said what I said. So
there you go.
So I figured out that the reason that when my partner would leave, when we would argue, what would cause me to be so anxious is that my mom used to leave and not come back. So there's this abandonment thing that I'm like, well, I don't want you to go anywhere, and I don't want you to leave, and I don't want you to not be with me. And so anywhere she went, I wanted to go. If she was going to her mom's house, if she was going with a friend or whatever, I wanted to be in the mix because I don't want to be left and I don't want to be by myself.
Right.
And it took me to the point of going through the process of getting diagnosed, getting on medication, the medication being consistent enough to where all of the things that the medication was supposed to do, it was giving what it needed to give, or it was giving what it needed to give. And so then I'm able to kind of bring myself down to center and be still and be quiet enough to say, okay, the reason that I'm anxious is because blah, 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 blah. So I have a journal that in moments where I'm feeling like that, right now in this moment, I'm anxious because, and that is even a very prevalent phrase in our everyday conversation now to this point. Chelsea, you're anxious because of what? Right now in this moment, you're feeling this why? And she'll tell me, okay, I know that the reason that you're starting to get snappy is because you're becoming anxious about this. So what do we need to talk about?
Oh,
And
see,
if
that
you
is
are,
awesome.
yes. So if you're in a relationship with somebody who has anxiety, any form of it, because when I tell you the book, the laundry list of things that a person can be diagnosed with, that's just specifically dealing with anxiety. There are medicines that once the person's anxiety is triggered, panic attacks happen. And so it can go through this whole laundry list of things that can occur and that can happen when someone is on medication and they're trying to regulate themselves. And so if you're in a relationship with somebody who has anxiety disorder, one of the things that you need to understand is it's not something they're doing on purpose. It's not something that they're trying to use to cause an argument. It really takes a person of integrity, a person of genuine desire and admiration for this person in order for you to be successful in a relationship with someone who not only has a mental health issue, but specifically anxiety. And a lot of people don't understand that. And so when y'all are dating and you're meeting somebody for the first time, those are conversations y'all need to have. Hey, do you struggle with any type of mental health, anything? And then when the person answers, you have to be prepared for the answer. And if you're genuinely interested, then do some research. She got mad at me one time because I bought her a book about anxiety in relationships or loving somebody with anxiety. I need to find the author because the book is in here somewhere. I don't know where it is. But it's on Amazon. If you search Loving Somebody with Anxiety, it's a whole book that kind of lays out, the clinical part of it, talking about how the neuron inhibitors are not meeting, how the serotonin is at a certain level, and then taking certain medications kind of raises the level of serotonin, which then in turn, changes how much anxiety is happening. It's a whole thing. And so I bought her that book and it started a whole argument. And I said, I want to teach you how to love me if loving me is something that you want to continue to do.
Yeah.
And when I said that to her, she was like, oh.
Damn. Yeah, okay. I see.
And she was like, well, you're just trying to make me, succumb to you having anxiety and because my anxiety was ruining our relationship. It really was. Paranoid every time she left the house. Well, who are you with? And what are you doing? And just always assuming the worst. And it's always an argument. It's always a problem. And it's like, okay, if we're going to fix it, you're saying you want to be with me. I'm saying I want to be with you. Let's figure out what we can do to fix it. And so I was like, shit, hell, when I'm looking up a recipe and I don't know what to do, I get on Google and I look this shit up. Now I'm going to put my own spin on it because
it's
could be something that I love to do, but I need a baseline. I need a skeleton. I need a frame on how to go about trying to achieve whatever dish I'm trying to achieve. It's the same thing in a relationship. If reading books is not your thing, reach out to a relationship expert. There's plenty of people, who are life coaches, and you have all of these resources that are available, for you to really kind of dig deep into what it means to love somebody with anxiety. But being in a relationship with somebody with anxiety, baby, it is not for the faint of heart.
I'll even go on to say being in a relationship with anybody with some mental health, it's not for, because I have bipolar manic depressive disorder. So that in itself, it's a roller coaster, especially if you're not on medication, if you're not. But I do like that idea that you had about how you write down in your journal, hey, I'm feeling anxious because of this, or I'm feeling, and I feel like I need to start doing that because I have started to try and take mental note with, if I'm feeling upset, I'll sit and kind of think like, okay, well, why am I really feeling this way? But I have a problem, admittedly, with expressing myself to my partner. It's kind of like I'll think it to myself, but I won't always express that to her. Well, this is why I reacted that way, or this is what's really going on. So I think to her it's a disconnect because she's not fully understanding because I'm not letting her know exactly. So I think and I do better with writing stuff down anyway. So maybe if I just start writing down, hey, this is why I'm feeling this way, I think it'll help for myself and for her to get some better understanding. So I really do like that.
So what do you think is stopping you from wanting to communicate? Because this is an argument in my household, right?
Okay.
My partner is definitely the more mild-mannered one. I'm the firecracker. I'm the life of the party. but I'm also an introvert, which is some people find that very hard to believe.
You
but
can be
I'm
an
somebody
extrovert
who likes to stay home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like going nowhere. I don't like being out in public. If I can get it delivered to my house, that's what I'm gonna do. Like,
Me too.
and COVID, going through the pandemic definitely didn't make it any better because it's just like, okay, I'm really not gonna go nowhere. I'm really not gonna be around a whole bunch of people. I'm really gonna not have to interact. And so going that 2 years without that interaction, and now we're moving into this, potentially post-pandemic period where everybody's trying to readjust. We've all been knocked off kilter. We haven't had to communicate face to face. We haven't really had to be verbal about our feelings and what makes me uncomfortable or what makes me comfortable or what makes me feel okay. We haven't had to do that because number one, we got on a mask. So you can't see my face. You can't really understand what I'm saying. Everything's kind of distorted. And so we're kind of moving away from that. And so now, if you have survived a relationship through the pandemic, I'm clapping for you because, baby, you was locked up in the house with somebody and y'all didn't kill each other. Kudos to you because that took a lot. We're used to using all of these other outside sources of entertainment and all this other things to kind of put fluff in your relationship. And so this really created substance for a lot of us who have kind of been in these kind of like scratch surface level interactions, not only in our romantic relationships, but our platonic friendships as well. I had my best friend of 6.5, 7 years basically tell me like, hey, we can't be friends anymore because you ain't doing shit and you're not talking about nothing and you're not doing anything for me that is productive to my growth and where I'm trying to move as an individual. And so I love you, but I need to cut this relationship off. And immediately at first I was offended because I'm like, bitch, the fuck? Like, we've been friends this long. Like, tell me. How you gonna tell me that I'm not doing nothing? Like, I got this going on, I got this going on. And I had to really sit in that and say, she's doing what she needs to do for her progression and for her growth. And if our friendship is a hindrance to that, then why would I be upset with her for cutting that connection off so that she can move to the next place in her life? I can't be mad at you for that.
Right.
And it caused me to do a lot of self-evaluation and to look at some shit. And I was like, okay, it all goes back to mental health. Okay. And what do I need to do to fix this? What do I need to do to fix me? Is there some truth to some of the stuff that she said, And so that caused me to kind of go back and sit back with my psychiatrist and kind of talk about, hey, I'm still really not feeling stable. I'm still kind of going in this up and down kind of thing based off of it's mostly circumstantial. It kind of depends on what's going on. Right. And it'll get me to the point to where I'm so up here that I can't bring myself back down to regulate and be okay to be able to genuinely have a conversation without just being so upset. Right. And it causes me to go into this spiral where my house is not clean. I'm not getting out of the bed. I'm watching TV all day. I'm emotionally eating. And it just creates this world of chaos that it's so hard to dig yourself out of if you don't have the support of a friend or a partner or a family member who knows what's going on with you. And so that whole conversation with her sent me into a frenzy. And I was like, okay, hold on. Because I wasn't expecting it. Right. Your best friend, the person that you shared all your dirty secrets with, and the person that knows literally everything about you tells you, hey, I can't continue in this space anymore. So it was hard. Yeah. So it caused me, and I don't want to get off topic, but it caused me to really have to figure out like what part of my anxiety is making it look like I'm not being productive or I'm not doing anything, to my friends and to my family. I don't want to look like a bum or nothing and a nobody, but this mental illness is so fucking debilitating and it's so heavy that I literally don't have the energy to do anything. I can't. I can't be productive. I can't get up and go to work. I can't, get up and brush my teeth. I can't get up and take a shower. Like I literally cannot. And
Right.
someone
Right.
who doesn't have depression doesn't understand what that feels like. And then what do you mean you can't get up and take a bath?
You
Just what
can't.
the fuck I said. I don't have the energy to pull my legs out of the bed, to put my feet on the ground, to get up and walk into the bathroom,
And
turn
then
on the
watch. Yeah.
shower,
Take your
pull back
clothes
the
off.
curtain, take off my like all of those things
All those things.
require
Wash your
energy.
actual body.
Right. Like, and
Yeah.
not just get in the shower and just stand there, grab the towel off of the rack, get the soap out of the tension rod container.
Yeah.
Squeeze the soap out. Like all of those things sound like it's really minute because we just do it, but we take that stuff for granted because when you're in an episode, all of that shit takes supernatural human strength to do. And
it does.
You have to understand that when people are saying, I feel depressed, don't take that lightly. Start asking questions and start saying, okay, well, what is it exactly that you're feeling? Because sometimes we don't fucking know.
Yeah, sometimes you don't know why. You know, somebody can be, well, why? I don't know. It's
not
a reason.
Know. And if
I just feel like that. I don't know. I just do. I often call it it's like a, or I don't call it. It honestly, for me, it feels like, because I can feel when a depressive episode is coming on. It's kind of like, and I feel it trying to catch me, and I'm like, nope, I'm not trying to. If I feel like I'm down too long, I'm like, I need to get up. I need to get out the house. I need to do something, because I do not want. I'm so afraid of that feeling to catch me, and it's funny that you're sitting here describing just some of the symptoms that depression brings about. This is actually the first relationship that I've been in that I have not been the only depressed person. So this is my first time actually dating somebody with depression. I've dated somebody with generalized anxiety before, but she still didn't let me see it to the point where it affected the relationship so much, I would say. So with this being my first relationship, where me being on the opposite end, I've never had to look at it through the lens of the caregiver or being on the other end of having you, because it makes you feel helpless, because it's like it's really, it's nothing I can do. I can't get those endorphins or serotonin to pop out for you. I can't do, and I can't, enforcing you or just telling you, well, just get up and do it. That's not helping either. So it's often left me in a place of feeling just helpless and just not really knowing how can I support you? What are the correct actions to do? Because I really don't know. And even me thinking, whenever I'm in a depressive episode, I can't even tell you honestly what helps me, because when I'm, like you said, when I'm really down and out, I don't want to do anything but really just watch TV and eat. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to get out of bed. I rarely have the energy to do anything. And so it's been hard trying to navigate a relationship where you're with a depressed partner and you also have your own mental health issues, because I have to deal with my bipolar episodes and trying to muddle through those and still somehow be a source of strength, because we have a child, she has a son. And so also being there for your children and making sure that you're one, because what I don't want to do, especially if we bring more children into this world, I don't want our mental illnesses to get so bad to the point to where we're missing out on our children's lives, and then our children are growing up like, well, my parents weren't really there because they were always laying down, or they were always doing this, or they didn't really, I would hate for that to happen. So that's why it's so important to get a hold of your mental health, not only for you, but for those around you,
Yes, because you don't want to be the person that people don't want to be around, right? And I think back to what you said about being a caregiver in this dynamic of a relationship with dealing with someone who has depression specifically. Now, all of my people who are either clinically diagnosed with depression, you've been to the doctor and told you got depression, you take medication, whatever, or for my people who are maybe undiagnosed, who kind of have an idea, this is what this feels like, I kind of have the symptoms. Now, y'all gotta chill, okay?
What you mean?
Because being a person who is taking care of the person who has that literally is the most draining thing that I have ever experienced and seen. And even just in my own relationship, I look at her sometimes and I'm like, God damn, I done did a number on you. Like, You know, like,
God damn.
but no, and this is just me being 100%
Yeah,
honest
being
and
honest.
transparent, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I done fucked your whole life up, girl. Like,
Damn, you ain't gotta say it like
damn.
that. Yeah.
No, but that's the real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I really fucking fucked you up. And we had a conversation one time, and it was probably the breaking point to the stability of our relationship. I went down the laundry list of things that we had gotten into an argument about because my calculated ass, baby, I'm gonna write it down, write the date, write the time to the second to the T of what
So
we
you
talked
gonna bring
about,
it
why
out.
we talked about.
This is when you said
Listen,
this.
because I'm going to read you and tell you why you got me fucked up, right? So I had to really look at the trajectory of our relationship and all of the past things and things that have happened. And I was a lot of the cause of that. And through all of the doctor's appointments and the medication transitions and the medication changes, because I've had 3, she's took the bunt end of all of it. And I will be forever grateful in my heart and in my spirit and in my soul to her for withstanding the test of time, literally, of being the support system to a person who is going through all of these other, these mental health things. And so us, people who, when you're in the moment, you don't really realize and recognize how much you're pulling on your person, how much you're draining their energy, because all of what they have, they're giving it to you. And if you are not somebody who really understands boundaries in a relationship and learn how to set those boundaries in your relationship, I can still love you, but I need you to understand that I need some time to myself.
Right.
And that was something we struggled with, because I'm like, well, where the fuck you think you finna go? And you talking about you finna go out with your friends. Well, how long you gonna be gone? And the whole time she gone, just text me. Well, what time are you coming back? Well, it's already 11 o'clock and you're not back home. So
she ain't even enjoying herself while she out.
Yeah. Just doing the fucking most and not really understanding that she's restoring herself so that she can come back home and continue to pour into me when I'm not pouring into her. And that's something that people who suffer with mental health in any capacity, on your job, in your relationships with your family, in your relationship with you're spilling out on everybody. And while it is not your fault that you have this condition and it's something that's kind of been built up in you, you have to understand and realize you need to let people kind of retreat and kind of have that time to themselves and have that, okay, I can't be around you right now, or this is too much for me right now, and be okay with that. Them saying that doesn't mean I don't love you or I don't want to be with you. I just need you to back the fuck off for a second.
Right.
It can be really intense. And so I want to tell her publicly, like, I love you and I appreciate you so much for everything that you've had to put up with, and that you've had to endure and go through and trying to be a support for me when I was not able to pour back into you. Because I honestly, I just didn't have it. Right. And it's not that I didn't have the desire to, I just didn't know. I didn't know. And so we have to be honest, Mo, and we have to be willing to kind of dig that deep and look at everything and say, okay, this is what I did wrong. This is how this goes. This is what I need to do. And it's okay to go back and revamp your relationship. It doesn't have to look like it did 2 years ago. We've been in this is year 5 for us.
Okay.
And so we ain't new to this. We true to this, right? But it took a lot of arguing and fighting, and I don't want to be with you, and you get on my nerves, and I hate you, and all of this other stuff. It took all of that for us to get to the point to now we're able to ask specific questions. Going to therapy. Do not, if your partner comes to you and says, hey, I want us to go to therapy, and your ass say no,
you the problem.
We don't need to go to therapy. You a motherfucking lie. Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
Because it may not even just be for you, the person with the mental illness. It's for them. They need somewhere where they can go to retreat and kind of talk and express, damn, this bitch is really getting on my nerves and I think she's fucking crazy. They need to be, they need
a safe space to say that. Yeah.
Because that's what they're feeling. That's what they're thinking. Damn, this bitch is crazy and she's getting on my nerves. Or damn, this nigga needs to get his shit together. Like in the spare of the moment when they're so overwhelmed, because we're a lot.
We're a
And
lot.
then I'm an
Yes.
Aquarius on top of that. And if you have ever been with an Aquarius or been friends with an Aquarius, we so extra and we do the most. From the
What
time we
I
wake
have
up to the time we
known,
go to bed.
I have known Aquariuses to be y'all can be very indifferent. That's my experiences with y'all. Y'all just kind of
But
nonchalant. Like,
the indifference comes from trying to regulate so that because we're not easy people to be around. I don't care what if you're an Aquarius, you're either super calm and super chill, or you that bitch, like for real.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's no middle ground. And that's something that I've always struggled with. I've never been a person that can operate and function in the middle. And that's worked for me in certain areas of my life, but in other areas, it's completely fucked and screwed things up. Because I'm either all the way over here
or you're
or I'm
all the
all
way
the way
over
over
here.
here. I don't know how to work the middle. And so my medication and going through this process has taught me what functioning in the middle looks like. Okay, I can say I don't fuck with you, but I don't have to be a bitch and I don't have to be rude and I don't have to roll my eyes every time you come in the room or turn my nose up at you when I see you. Hey, how you doing? And leave it at that.
And leave it at that. Yeah, yeah.
Because before, bitch, this is all you getting from me. And if you got a fucking problem, let's talk about it. You know? So
yeah,
going back to really being at one with you and understanding you having a mental illness or you having any form of anxiety or depression or, I mean, there's a plethora of things that it can be. You really have to be in tune with yourself. Yes. And you really have to be honest with yourself about where you are, what you're doing, and how who you are and what you're doing is affecting the people around you.
Right.
100%.
You made comment of you spilling out onto other people. Yes. And I've had to recently do some reevaluating and to see how I've been spilling out on other people. And because sometimes my bipolar can cause me to act selfishly, think selfishly, be dismissive, be insensitive. And I wasn't really aware of those things or aware of those traits in myself. And nobody's ever really just called them out until my partner did. And so she's like, you got to be mindful of those things. And when I had to sit there and when she first said it, I was like, no, I'm not like that. Or I'm not, you just, but when I actually when I sat and I thought about it and I was like, you can be this way or you can't. And it can be hard. It's hard for you to look at yourself and be like, nigga, you fucked up. Like, nigga, that's a fucked up way of thinking. Or that's not right. That's not, but I didn't want to continue to spill out onto my people. That's not what I want to do. And so I'm actively trying to work. Like I used to not be good. Bipolar people are notorious for not being good with their medications. And I was actually misdiagnosed for the longest time with just clinical depression and not bipolar. And antidepressants tend to not work for bipolar people. So for the longest time, I was even on the wrong medications. But now that I'm on the right ones, I got on the right ones, but for a while I didn't want to take them because I was feeling like I'm feeling good. Like I don't need this. I don't even need this shit. But then it got to a point where I needed it. And I had to look at myself and I had to be like I was saying, I don't want to spill out on some of my people. I don't want to show this angry side. I don't want you to have to walk on eggshells. I don't want you to have to, right. So I have to, in order for me to not be that person, I've got to take my medication. I've got to get into therapy. I've got to, these are things that just like you said, if I got diabetes.
You have to do what?
I've got to take my medication. I've got to get into therapy.
So pause.
Yes.
My dear, sweet, precious heart.
Yes.
If you have medication, take the fucking
medication. I got you.
Take your medicine.
I got you.
Because here's the thing. When I first got diagnosed, and it's funny now, but it wasn't funny when it happened. They initially prescribed me with Effexor.
Okay, I've taken that before.
And I was taking it. And one of the things that my psychiatrist said, she was like, this is real hard and real fast. She was like, this is like porn. This is not lovemaking. This medicine is going to literally go in and it's going to go in. It's going to go hard real quick. She said, you're going to probably be on this medication a week and a half, maybe 2, and you're going to immediately start to see the effects of the medication. So to me, I'm like, oh, okay, good. Because initially she offered Prozac and she said, Prozac is probably one of the first, anxiety medications that was developed. Mm-hmm. It takes like 8 weeks to get in your system. And I'm like, oh, hell no, bitch, I'm crazy now. I need you to give me the shit now,
Yeah.
So I was actually prescribed 75 milligrams of the Effexor. And my partner kept looking at me, like days would kind of go by. And we would get into these like really heated arguments. I couldn't understand like why they were so intense and why I was so fucking mad. Like it wasn't just normal me being pissed off. It was like, bitch, I'm finna knock you the fuck out. And like it was just real crazy, right?
Yeah.
And she goes, I'm gonna call your doctor. And this is the same person. She's like, I'm gonna call the doctor and I'm gonna go ahead and schedule you an appointment. And I'm just like, okay, well, fuck you. And then like, whatever. So the whole ride to the doctor's office. Now, mind you, I had been on this medication like a month. Mm-hmm. She didn't talk the whole way to the appointment. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting pissed off all over, what the fuck is wrong with her? And why she did it? So we got in the doctor's office and she said, whatever you do, please take her off of this medicine. She was like, she has literally turned into Ursula from The Little Mermaid and the Hulk at the same time.
Damn.
And my psychiatrist just fell out laughing. She was like, well, what's happening or what's going on? And so she's describing how my mood and how my personality has changed over the last month with this specific medication. And I didn't realize, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, like, oh, dang it. Yeah.
So I was like, babe, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's the medicine. So it wasn't me.
And we did, she started me on 20 milligrams of Prozac. Mm-hmm. And then she added Wellbutrin. And she put me on 150 milligrams of the Wellbutrin. Mm-hmm. And so before I was able to, and so then this was a period where our finances kind of got fucked up. And so I couldn't go to the doctor. Mm-hmm. And so she prescribed the medication, and St. Hope also offers really affordable medication packages. So like the Prozac and the Wellbutrin were like $8.
Oh, okay. That's good.
I mean, it's very affordable. Like I love St. Hope. You can't listen, St. Hope, you can't tell me shit about St. Hope. If you don't have insurance, if you don't have healthcare, because everybody doesn't have it, right. And that's Black people, stop talking shit about people who don't have insurance. Insurance is not cheap, for one.
It's not.
And you have to, if you are living kind of paycheck to paycheck, right? Mm-hmm. And you don't really have the finances in order to have $350 taken out of your check every week, and you got to pay rent and pay a car note and pay insurance.
And everything is going up. It's a lot.
Listen, baby, when I tell you I went to Walmart and HEB the other day and milk is almost $3 a gallon. Yeah. I said,
out here it is. In Dallas it is.
Listen, I said three US American dollars.
Three. It's like $3.69, and I said, why? For what? It came from the same cow.
You literally just can't afford to live right now. So with this added stressor of mental health and not having access to resources, to be able to fix the shit, it's like you either damned if you do, and damned if you don't. Yeah. So long story short, got off of the Effexor, got on the Prozac, and it was kind of off and on for like 5 months, because that's when the pandemic happened and she was working, and then got laid off. I was working and then got laid off, and then was trying to find another, like it was just a whole clusterfuck. And so you can imagine my anxiety just kind of being in this constant rotation, because we didn't know what the hell COVID was. We didn't know how it was affecting people. And then at that time, when COVID happened, I had got a job at a hospital. Mm-hmm. And she was like, oh no, you don't need to work at a hospital. No, not working in a hospital. Just no. Because I was working in the emergency room, and some people that come to the hospital, they don't come out. Yeah. And so I have anxiety, I have depression. I'm going to work, seeing people die every day. Yeah. And and it's not just like a regular, this person was in an accident, or people were literally walking into the emergency room, then 2 days later on a ventilator, and then 2 days later they were dead. Like that it was so
and to see that, to
see that, be on anxiety, and then I don't have no medicine, like
And then you taking
a
in all
whole
that
thing.
negative energy, the family is in
It was
grieving.
just
That's a
so
lot. Yeah.
fucking much.
That's a
So
lot.
imagine what she was going through. Because it was a lot for me.
Right.
So then caregivers, you know, we know it's hard on y'all, but what the fuck you think it's like for us? It's not in your head. You're not living it. You're experiencing it through us, through the individual that has it, but you are not the person that is experiencing the up and down emotions and the hot and cold. And she told me, she said, Chelsea, it literally feels like we're on a roller coaster in our relationship. She was like, and I have to hurry up and flip to wherever you are. She was like, if you're up here, I gotta be up here. And then when you drop, I have to drop at the same pace, or we're just always gonna be off. And I didn't understand how that was affecting her and how that was making her feel. And so when I got on the right medication, it was like night and day, literally. And now it's taken away my libido, and my therapist and if my psychiatrist ends up watching this, sis, we got to talk, because listen,
we got to talk about
I like sex. I like to have sex. And the fact that like, it literally does not exist.
Just killed it. Really. All together.
Listen.
Yeah. That's.
I'm like, but so we laugh about it all the time. I'm like, so either you get a crazy bitch that can get it up,
or you gonna
get a calm wife
who just don't want to have no
sex. You
sex.
want to call me, and we ain't getting it in. So it's like there's all of these obstacles that come with going down this road in a relationship, or even just being a person in general who's on mental health medication, or just, but we're all just trying to get it right. The long and short of it is there's no right or wrong way to go through this process. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Everybody has their own journey, and everybody has their own way of how they're going to walk through this life that we're living. You just have to find what's going to work for you. And people say that shit all the time, Mo. And you be like, okay, that's cliche. Like, you know what? But literally, it's literally you get to dictate how this goes.
Right. You just got to be patient. That's all. You got to be patient to get through it. That's because it's going to be trial and error. But you're right. It's finding what works for you.
But you have to do that. And you not only do you just owe it to your partner and to your family and to your friends, you owe it to your fucking self.
So, yes.
You owe it to yourself to invest, even if it's not financial investment. You owe yourself the time to really live in a peaceful manner. You know, people talk, I talk to people all the time about how I don't care about being rich. And I done got on this kick to where I want to farm. And I've been talking to my honey about wanting a cow. I'm like, I want a cow, or I want some chickens. Cows. Belle and Cookie. They already have names. I want
Belle and Cookie.
I want cows, and I want horses, and maybe like 2 or 3 goats. Like, I just want to live, you know, in a more rural area to where it's just wide open spaces, right? Yeah. My 40 acres and a mule. Like, I want to live that life, you know? And so having money and being financially free and all of those things, all of that is wonderful. But if you don't get your mental health in check, we saw that beautiful Miss USA pageant winner who literally jumped off a 60-foot building and killed herself. Sis she had degrees. She was very well accomplished. She was beautiful.
All that.
So it's like you can have all of that shit going on, and clearly we see Kanye West, and
he got more money than all of us put together, and he's still.
When you're fucked up here, and you have not gotten to the place where you can go and seek the help and actually be an active participant in your healing. Healing starts within. It starts with you.
Right.
And if you can't heal your body, by all means, God damn it, heal your mind. You have the power to do it. Right. It's gonna take work, and it's not gonna be easy, and you're gonna have to cry, and you're gonna have to have your feelings hurt, and you may have to be by yourself for a little bit. Right. But you owe it to yourself to invest in your healing in your mind.
Right. Because in the long run, it's going to be nothing but positive benefits. Because if you
You
don't,
can't do
you still
anything but
going,
benefit from healing your mind.
If you
Because this
don't, you're
is
just
where
going to be
all
in
of
the
our
same spot.
decisions come from, all of our habits, all of our tics, all of our triggers, everything is up here.
Right.
And when you can get this to connect with this, and it's on the same page, literally everything you do from your life will flow from the healing that you experience when you take care of your mind.
Right. 100%. A word. That's you right. You right. I'm glad you said that. Well, I think that's a pretty good, because I had some other questions, but you kind of already touched on them, because I was going to ask you about your symptoms and what are some treatments that work for you. But we've kind of already gone through that, and you clearly said that therapy and medication are some things that really help you. And I would encourage everybody, if you can, try and find resources, even if, and I do understand that a lot of times the appointments are expensive, especially if you don't have insurance, but try and find resource groups just like St. Hope in Houston, or I know the resource center out here, the LGBT resource center out here in Dallas. I know that they try and do some things to help, and I think they have some other place in Arlington. But it's just a matter of looking. You just have to look. It's not going to be easy. Nobody said it's going to be easy. Just looking and finding that right combination. Some people just need meds. Some people just need therapy. I'm a person who needs both. So I encourage you, whatever combination works for you, I just encourage you to go out there and find it, just to, like you said, invest in your mental health. It's all about investing in yourself. And I just wanted to thank you for joining on here and coming on here. And
thank you for having me.
You was dropping them. You were dropping some gems on there.
Listen, and if we need to continue this conversation, because I'm sure you're going to have questions or people who are going to come on, or even if, we can get our partners to ask some questions about certain things, because people really need to, especially in relationships, everybody want to have a boo. Everybody want to be booed up.
Right.
But it's
not easy.
It's not just we cute and we taking pictures and we going on vacation. Like, if this is somebody that you're physically living with, nigga,
it can get.
Because baby, I'll be like, you going with your friends? How many days you gonna be gone? You only 2 days, 3 days, 4 days? You gonna be gone for a long time? Like, I love her, but I'll be like, can you go somewhere? Can you leave?
Do something. It be times where you need your space.
And then we have a dog too, and he's real clingy. I'm like, can you take him with you? Like, if you gonna take the dog,
don't have no kids. Then watch when you get some kids. Don't have no kids.
She keeps talking about she wants some kids, child. I'm like, baby, listen.
Them kids gonna be real clean.
And they really expensive, because then if I gotta pick between whether I'm gonna get my nails done and get a filled by diapers, I don't know if I'm ready for that kind of responsibility.
Damn, so you don't know if you're ready for that kind of commitment. At least you're being honest.
Listen, talk to the ancestors for me. Let them drop some help, because I'm like,
we gonna need some more help. Yeah, because they is expensive. I ain't even gonna lie to you. They expensive.
Because this food eats $70 dog food, so.
Oh damn! So you probably get him the expensive stuff. You get him the expensive stuff. Okay? Yeah.
Shout out to all the doggy moms, because we living out here. And
you like my mama. She get her dog the stuff that got refrigerated and stuff. She real bougie. It's she treat the dog like
it's not even me being bougie. It's him. Okay, quick story.
So
yesterday it was raining outside, and I have been working from home, so my schedule is a little bit different. And so one day, Mo, I said, I'm gonna take Jackson to the dog park and kind of run around, use the restroom.
Yeah.
So now he thinks that every time we go outside, we're supposed to go to the dog park. He will not use the restroom anywhere else in my apartment, but the dog park. So if he needs to go and drop a load, I have to walk
all the way.
Rain, sleet, snow, cold, whatever, because technically we get off 4 in the day. He will not use the bathroom unless he goes to the dog park.
Dogs are too much.
Has the nerve to look up at me like, Mama, what are you doing?
What are we doing?
We supposed to be going this way.
What are you doing? We're going this way.
Listen, I take Prozac for Jackson. It's because of him.
I believe it. Dogs will run you ragged. They like little people. I believe it.
Who want him? Who want him? Come get him.
Not me. Don't bring my fiance will say she wants him. Don't bring him over here. I can't do no dog. Dogs is like people.
Put your uncle on your auntie. Come on,
no,
Jackson. Look, let me get his bag
you over
ready.
there with her? No, But if you want to go ahead and drop your Instagram handle, if you want people to follow you, if you
Post
don't,
nothing.
if you
I
don't,
don't
this
post nothing. Hell, I follow Pop It Up Radio or Pop Up Radio. I follow your TikTok. And listen, if y'all are not following Mo on TikTok, you are doing yourself a disservice because you need a laugh. And I mean, you
I don't
want
even
like a
be
knee
on there like
slap,
that.
stomach curtain laugh. You need to follow him because he's hilarious.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I don't even get on there like I need to, but I appreciate that. And thank you for you be tuning in to Pulled Up Radio and everything. You always be active. So I appreciate that and I
Hey, I
appreciate you
gotta support
listening.
the fam. You know what I'm saying?
And
And when I see, people of color in general who are trying
mhm,
to pour into people and who just want to be available to love on people, to make people laugh, to be just a sense of relief with the fucked up shit that's going on in the world now,
right.
I try my best to support it. So you
I
got my support
appreciate that.
110%. You need anything, you can definitely call me. And I got you.
Thank you.
I
Okay, well,
got you.
definitely, and we will definitely have you back on here. I might have to get our partners to ask a few questions and hop back on. That'll be an interesting one. Hop back
Ah,
on here, and so we'll
okay,
definitely
well,
have
I'll
you
be
on
ready
for
and
another
she'll
one.
definitely be ready. She'll definitely be ready.
She'll be
So yeah.
ready. All right.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in and listening. I just want to thank you guys for sticking it out with me. Like I said, I know this episode, it has been a long time since I dropped the last one, but I'll try not to leave you guys hanging and just thank you guys again. Thank you, Chelsea, for hopping out or hopping on and just chopping it up with me. So I appreciate you
I
and I
got you,
appreciate
boo.
everybody listening. So thank you and we'll see you guys later.
Bye.